8 AM at Jells Park, getting ready for the trail walk. Team member Nikki getting dropped off by her dad. Here, team member Deb showing us her happy face. Our support member Paul helping Brenda with her water bladder. Deb, Brenda and Nikki at the Jells Park Cafe getting ready. Lots of people getting ready with the start line in the background. People starting to queue up at the start line. Even more people getting ready. And we're off. You can see the Oxfam announcers on the right hand side cheering us on. Long snaky path of people going through Jells Park towards the lake. And Deb, Brenda and Nikki on the track. Here's one of the costumed dodgy 5-person teams. You're only supposed to have 4 people. A few people had 5. Getting a bit stretched out by now. I think this is probably going through Narry Warren. Here Deb's hassling some of the eligible young men along the track while Nikki watches on. Here our friend Claire has just been to the toilets and filled up her water bladder with some very suspicious looking yellow liquid at the 12-kilometre mark with the whole team including Christopher. Walking through the Churchill Park section that we'd never done before, seeing as this was one of the closed sections. We've got Nikki, Brenda and Deb walking through the Churchill Park section. Another rare shot of Christopher. One of the teams seemed to use their walking sticks the entire time, looking like spiders. Walking across the end of the Lake Listerfield Dam wall with Nikki, Brenda and Deb. The water overflow at the Listerfield Lake. We could hear the drumming sounds coming from checkpoint 2 from this drumming circle there. We could hear them a couple of kilometres away, which was a great lure into checkpoint 2. And a close up, I'm not sure whether it was some sort of school group. I think this is our friendly team Great Expectations with Alex reclining on the right. A couple of guys playing Uno while they wait for their team to show up at checkpoint 2, Lake Listerfield. Leaving Lake Listerfield checkpoint 2, heading off towards checkpoint 3. There's Nikki on the left, and Nikki walking past the lake with Brenda in front of her. Unfortunately, this is when Deb's foot problems really started to get bad, so a couple of times there were a few scenes like this with work on Deb's foot. Another one of the dodgy 5 people teams. This one made all the more apparent for the coolie hats they were all wearing. Walking up a reasonably steep road in Belgrave. Walking up the infamously steep alleyway in Belgrave. It's a nice walk though. Looking down from the top of the steep alleyway in Belgrave. Goes behind houses and things. Walking up through the Puffing Billy area with the train station train line in the background there. Walking up the 23-degree hill on the other side. It's actually marked as 23 degrees on the street sign at the bottom. Walking towards the Lidscombe track. There's the coolie team again. I think this time they must have copped a bit of flack, so they've taken the hat off one of their members. Walking down the steep incline at the end of the Lidscombe track towards the Macawba Hotel. Looking back up at the Lidscombe track from the Macawba Hotel while the roadman hurries to get out of the way. Got dark just after this, so you won't see any shots from checkpoint 3. When we got to checkpoint 4, we met up with some of our supporters, Amanda and Meng and Paul, and Deb, who'd had to quit because of her sore feet. By now it's about 1 AM in the morning, and we're lucky to enjoy a hot mushroom risotto and a delicious lemon slice while getting massages. On the left you see Deb rugged up against the cold, while Meng works on Brenda in the background and Nikki in the foreground. After this we walked off again to checkpoint 5, which we reached at about 7 AM after being awake for about 26 hours. Unfortunately Brenda was in pain by then, so she also had to retire. There wasn't much going on at the Graham Colling Reserve by the time we got there. They'd even stopped serving the food, and they weren't doing massages anymore, but we still took a couple of hours sleep. Some people still had some tents set up though, so there were a couple of other teams round, but most people had moved on. We slept in the big tent marquee. Here's us heading off with team 141, the McSlicks, who were down to 3 people. Here's us walking along the Warburton Trail with Kylie from McSlicks in her infamous horse-scaring yellow jacket on the right. Remaining walkers Nikki and Chris catching up with Brenda and Deb at the Wirriyallik Primary School, where we stopped for lunch, and here's a shot of us having lunch with Team 141 and their support crew. Got dark after that, so there aren't any shots along the O'Shanassy Aqueduct, except for halfway along where they had quite an established rest stop with hot drinks like tea, coffee, cup of soup, and a heater that you can see everyone's clustered on the right. There you go, you can see people making sandwiches in the middle with peanut butter, jam, and the hot water on the left, and the heater on the right. As one of the Oxfam volunteers looks on as people gather around the heater. It's very dark, even at the time. Okay, getting to the Warburton Golf Club. It was all very friendly and everything at the tail end there. If you want to hang out, you can see Nikki sitting on the floor on the right. This was checkpoint 7. Only 7 kilometres towards the end. It's a bit fuzzy, but you get the idea. Lots of friends and family there. Nearly at the end, 93 kilometres. Still got Deb and Brenda supporting us. She looks happy that it's nearly over. Leaving checkpoint 7 to walk the last 7 kilometres. Unfortunately, the last of my photos from the trail, as it was way too dark at the finish line to take photos. And the shoes that walked me through the 100k. Thanks for listening.